Breaking news we're following right now. The state Senate has approved a gun control measure. It is called Ethan's Law.
This bill is named after a Guilford teenager who accidentally shot and killed himself with a gun in a friend's home that was not safely stored.
Channel 3 Chief Capitol reporter Susan Raff is live now with reaction. Susan?
Denise, the Senate is actually taking up 3 gun bills tonight, but the one that you mentioned, Ethan's Law, just passed minutes ago. This is named after a 15-year-old boy from Guilford, Ethan Song, who was killed accidentally when he shot himself. He was at a friend's. The gun was not loaded, but it was stored near ammunition. This legislation would change that by requiring all guns, loaded and not, to be locked properly. Ethan's parents, Kristen and Mike Song, are behind this legislation. They have been through this process for the past few weeks and months, and they spoke with us just minutes ago.
After Ethan died, we kind of started doing research to see if Ethan was the outlier, and I was shocked to see that gun violence is the second leading cause of death in children. And the urban cities are having such a tough time too, and it's a lot of the unsecured weapons not being stored and being stolen and ending up in the urban cities. So we owe it to the urban cities just as much to lock up our guns, and the police, who are desperate to get more of those stolen guns off the street.
And I just feel very overwhelmed right now. My mind is racing back to Sandy Hook and thinking about how hard that community fought, and they started this momentum. I really think there's a big connection here in Connecticut between the folks in Sandy Hook right on up to us and Ethan. And then the other thing that I'm very overwhelmed about is how all of these groups, from Moms Demand Action to Connecticut Against Gun Violence, and even folks from the NRA and the CCDL who came across the table here, we had an overwhelming margin here today. And that tells me this issue is different from many issues where we disagree on. Hey, we found one we agree on. Let's celebrate that and let's pull people together. I think it might be a nice direction for our country.
2 weeks ago, the House overwhelmingly passed Ethan's Law, and as you heard, the Senate has done the same thing. What's interesting, perhaps, for the Songs is that they were recently in Washington with Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, who has introduced a similar bill, calling it Ethan's Law. The Songs say that they had expected the NRA and other gun groups to be very opposed to what they are proposing, but so far they say that people have been receptive. Where it goes from there remains to be seen. As for the Connecticut Senate, Ethan's Law has passed overwhelmingly. They are taking up ghost guns tonight, banning those, in addition to locked and unlocked cars when it comes to keeping guns in those cars. We are live at the state capitol in Hartford. Susan Raff, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.